Today we're talking about the 5 crazy things that happen once an INFJ finally accepts themselves. I know that we as INFJs very often think we have accepted ourselves, but the truth is, if we have accepted ourselves, we will feel free. We will feel like the world is our oyster. We will feel like we're exactly where we're supposed to be. We wouldn't feel like we're behind in life, like all of those things. And so today we're going to talk about what happens once you really accept yourself. Like, what is keeping you from getting to that place? Because very often it's not so tangible, and it's my goal to make it as concrete for you as humanly possible. Before we get started, remember bootcamp is launching tomorrow, February 4th, so you still have a couple of hours to join. Everything you need to know you can find in the links in the description. The first thing that happens once INFJs finally accept themselves, they find out how strong they are. We very often think that we are very strong because of the pain we can take on, of what we can do for others. But there is a level of strength that most of the time we haven't really tapped into. And that is the strength of choosing you. That is the strength of saying, okay, I'm going to be fine even if nobody likes me. It really is this point where you say, I'm not going to continue to play a role and be liked for that role. I'm going to choose me. And that means saying, I'd rather be disliked for who I am than to be liked for who I'm not. And to do that, we have to show up authentically. And we have to show up in such a way that we know the people around us won't all like. Right? It is something that feels intangible, but once you really get to this place, if you're forced to make that step, or if you get to this place through yourself because of, the things you put into your system, right? Videos like this, boot camp, any kind of information and just energy that allows you to really tap into who you really are, you will be forced to make that choice. And once you make that choice, you recognize I can be by myself. Right? We've talked about it very often that it's all about first you're dependent, that's all about codependency. Then you're in the state of independence, and then you get to a place of interdependence, right? Which is, the goal, and it's healthy. But this independent stage is where you say, I'd rather be alone for the rest of my life than to continue playing those kind of games. Like, I'm good. I can make that happen. And we avoid this step because it is painful. But the truth is, just because it's painful, it doesn't mean that we can't get it done. And it's not going to stay that difficult. It's not going to stay this uncomfortable and painful. And it's in this situation that we really find out how strong we actually are. Because accepting ourselves is deciding that we're good with who we are, and we're going to make that choice, although it's painful. And we don't know how we're going to make it to the other side, but we're betting on us. And it's through that experience that we recognize how strong we actually are. And once we experience that, then nothing is really holding us back, because then we're aware of what we're willing and what we're able to get done if necessary. And so it gives us the motivation to continue down that path of creating that INFJ epic life on our terms. The next thing that happens once an INFJ starts accepting themselves is we start living in the moment. The INFJ is known for always looking forward, for always, thinking about what could happen next. And we do this very often because we want to avoid, real life. It's not something that feels comfortable if we're not really taking action to make it better. Right? This is like this reality that we sort of try to, bypass, and it works to some extent. But the thing is this, let's say you would ask yourself, what if my reality would never change? And I mean like my physical reality. I would stay in this apartment for the rest of my life. I would have that job for the rest of my life. I would have the kind of relationships I have, until the rest of my life. How would I feel? And this is a question we don't want to face very often, because these are not things that we want. Most of the time, these things have sort of happened. They haven't been something that we have proactively, made happen. Much of it is just something that we allowed to happen. And so once an INFJ finally accepts themselves, they understand that they're the master of their life and there is nowhere to escape. And so once the INFJ understands that, they start living in the moment. They start appreciating everything that is happening. a great meal with a friend, a great conversation with your mother, having some kind of experience in a spa or something that just makes you feel good. And we start tapping into this more and more because we're not spending so much time in some kind of made up world that is supposed to just, get us away from the current reality. If you start accepting yourself, you are accepting that this is your life and you're going to make the best out of it. The third thing that happens once an INFJ starts accepting themselves is they learn how to water their own grass. So this is different than the point we just mentioned. The point we just mentioned is all about experiencing things today, doing things that make you happy, doing things that make you feel alive and that make you feel grateful for what is going on. But watering your grass is actually tapping into all of those visions, understanding that yes, we're so great at creating this world in our mind, but it's also something that we're going to make reality. Because if you've accepted yourself, there's so many games you're not playing anymore, and you have so much excess energy. You have so much to give. And so you're going to use that to create a life that is better than what's going on. So you've accepted that this is your current apartment, that this is your life situation, that this is the job, that all of this is really what is going on. And you've started, being grateful for that and appreciating that. But now, when it comes to watering your own grass, you're saying, I am in control of making that better. I'm going to get a better job. If I don't like the relationships I'm having, I'm going to improve them. If I'm not happy with my life altogether, I have the power to change that. Most of the time, we feel helpless in this. We don't feel like there's another choice because that's how life is and that's how it's always going to be. But that is not the case. Once you start accepting yourself and you know there is no way out, you actually start making the steps happen to change that life. And you know that it's on you to really change it. It's not going to stay like this forever, but it will stay this way if you're not the one who takes control and makes those changes happen. And for the longest time, we didn't want to make those changes happen because that would mean we would have to be the one who take action. And before we've accepted ourselves, we very often thought, okay, I'm just going to compromise. I'm going to minimize myself. I'm going to hollow myself out, and I will just attach myself to somebody else or to some kind of situation and then make the best out of that. Once we accept ourselves, this option isn't available anymore because we've pretty much, shown to the world, I do have the strength to make it happen. I don't have a lot of strength, but I have enough. And once we've made that change, there is not really a way to go back, right? This is really a mindset thing. And once you do this, you recognize, oh, this is so much better than everything before. We're scared of taking that step because of all the pain that it involves. But once we actually do that and we confront ourselves with the pain subsides. And then you're at the other side of it and you recognize, oh, me watering my own grass, me creating the life that I want, and I do have the power to make that happen. So much better than everything I used to do until now. The next thing that happens once an INFJ finally accepts themselves is they become less sensitive towards others. This is something most INFJs don't anticipate. It's not something that is talked about, neither in literature nor in videos. This is something that is just one of those things you recognize once you go through it, because the more you start focusing on yourself, the less you're going to be aware of what's going on. When I was in my early 20s, I was keenly aware of what's going on with my best friend, as in what kind of things made her happy, what kind of things made her sad, what kind of music she likes, what was the emotional state she was in. I would immerse myself into this. Same thing with my boyfriend at that time, with my parents, just people around you. You are so sensitive to what is going on around you if you hollow yourself out. And it has been something that INFJs are, described as, this is our power. But the truth is, this is just a skill and you have more power than that. because it's not always healthy to be so sensitive towards others. Like now, I still have my best friend in my life and we have a great relationship, but it's nothing like it used to be because it used to be codependent in a way. But now I have so much energy that's flowing towards my life and I'm putting that energy into it and creating more and more abundance around it that I'm not even focused on what is going on there. Like if people ask for my help, I'm there, but it's not something that I do because I sort of want to avoid my own life. And that is something a lot of INFJs go through before they actually accept themselves. So this is something most people don't talk about, but be aware that you will become less sensitive, but you won't feel like a bad person because of it. You will understand that that kind of sensitivity wasn't actually a healthy thing. And the fifth thing that happens once an INFJ finally accepts themselves is that they stop thinking that something is missing. If there was one thing I was certain of, then it was that something is missing in my life. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how to get it. I didn't know what to do or where to look or where to start, but I knew that something was missing in my life, that I needed more, that I wasn't experiencing life the way it was supposed to be experienced. And once you start accepting yourself, you won't feel like this anymore. And it starts the first day. So when I started my whole transformation and I started this channel, for example, it was really a revelation because there were so many aspects that I was showing about myself that I was hiding before. And it wasn't about like, oh, who's going to see it? Maybe nobody would have seen it. But the fact is that people theoretically could. And this is what this is all about, right? It's about what's going on in our mind. And if we put ourselves in the situation where we, show to the world, this is who I am, these are the things that I'm interested in, and I'm not going to hide them anymore. The moment I started living that out and I started making choices in that regard, it's not just the channel, it's about like, okay, I'm going to improve my life. I'm going to water my own grass. I was really sad in the beginning and I felt like I'm always going to live in this dark cloud because now nobody's going to like me once they see the true me. But I told myself, no matter what, I will aim to make tomorrow better than today. And one thing I knew for sure is there is nothing that is out there that is missing. I am creating my life. I'm making it better. I'm already doing it. And this kind of realization is such a huge deal. Like waking up every single day and not having in the back of my mind something is missing, you're not living life the way you're supposed to. That is just a freedom that is priceless. And I wish that for every single one of you. Remember, if you want some more help in making that happen and helping you to make the changes, because remember, it's all on you. And the point is just like, do you give yourself the opportunity to make it happen? So if you want some guidance in this area, then join bootcamp. You have time until tomorrow, February 4th, to make that happen. All the information you need to know you can find in the links in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video. Once an INFJ finally accepts their mind-blowing nature, this is what happens.